Hello, my name is Crystal Petrie, and you are watching another episode of the Crystal Petrie Podcast, Season 3. Today, I'm sitting down with Collette V. Smith, a true trailblazer who broke barriers as the first African American female coach in NFL history and the first woman to coach in New York Jets franchise history. With grit and glitter, she's proven that dreams don't just come true, they suit up, show up, and change the game. From the gridiron to empowerment, Colette's story is one of resilience, courage, and rewriting the rules. Welcome to the podcast, Collette.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast. And thank your Sora for encouraging you. So I
Yes.
appreciate her as well. So, Miss Collette, where in the world are you?
I am in Queens, New York.
Okay,
Yeah.
absolutely. So let's talk about your history. My goodness, it's one that is truly trailblazing, at least in my opinion. Can you take us back to your childhood and what did football mean to you growing up?
Oh, football meant everything to me growing up. Football was, I think, the first connection with my dad. Um, Extracurricular activity with my dad. It was just our time for, it was my time to sit on the couch with him and spend quality time with him was by way of football. So football was very important to me. I just kind of loved it. And playing football in the street with the boys was challenging at first because, as a little girl, you're scared to ask the boys, "Can I play with you?"
Yes.
So that took a while, and then eventually, I said, "Can I play?" And I was thinking they better not say no, because I'm gonna play anyway.
Yes.
But that was my first experience with football, and I just loved it.
Wow. Did you ever imagine yourself working in the NFL when you were young? I mean, did I'm assuming that dream evolved later. If it did, how did it evolve?
No, that was never a dream. That
Really?
was never a dream as a child, even as an adult. That was never a dream. How could I dream to be a coach in the NFL when the world said you're not even allowed to play football? Right. So I have an older brother who was allowed to play football on a Pop Warner football team.
Hmm.
So that meant he got to wear a helmet and a jersey and wear cleats. And I'm thinking, oh my God, let's go. When are we going so I can play? And I was told they don't let girls play. You can't be on the team. So if you're hearing that as a kid, why would I think to dream about coaching in the NFL one day? So that was never a dream. That dream was stolen from me. That dream was taken from me before I even had a chance to even think about it.
So, how did you break into the space of coaching in the NFL when it was never a dream? There was no representation because there were no females coaching or playing football at that time. How did you break into that space where it's historically excluded women?
I mean, there were women playing football. There were women playing professional full tackle football. I just was unaware of it.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I was
I,
too then.
Yeah, I discovered women's professional full tackle football when I was 42 years old. And I happened to be on my computer at home one day and I something popped up on the screen about tryouts for a women's pro football team. And I was thinking, this is absurd. They don't let us play. What is this? And but it of course it had piqued my interest because I love football. And they had tryouts that coming Saturday morning. And I said, well, I'm going to go to these tryouts. I never thought in a million years that I would make the team because I was 42 years old. Um, I used to smoke cigarettes. I hung out every night after work. You know, uh, I never thought I'd make the team, but I said I owe it to myself to try out for this
At
women's
least
team.
try.
At
Yes.
least try. It's from someone that loves football her whole life. So I went to the tryouts and I started not to go because of two reasons. One, it was early in the morning on a weekend. That's when I had a job that I had in a corporate position. I did real estate in New York City for almost 20 years, and my time was very busy. And I wasn't a morning person. So that was a negative for me. And then the other part was they said to wear football cleats and football gloves. And I was thinking, what would I have cleats for? I've never been allowed to play football, so I'm not going to purchase cleats to wear one time to a tryout and then never use them again. So I said, well, you know what? I just shouldn't even go. But something kept coming up in my spirit that I needed to be there. So I went to the tryouts. I wore snow boots. Um, yeah, I wore snow boots because they had a lot of traction in them. And as soon as I got there, my mind went from I just want to experience it
Mm-hmm.
to I'm making this team. I am
Yes.
making this team because
Yes.
once you see all these women, I mean, women with helmets on and shoulder pads and jerseys and cleats and coaches with whistles blowing and clipboards and football cones. I was like, it blew my mind. And so I was loaded. I was locked in and I was loaded. And I made the team. Yeah.
What position did you play?
I was a safety. So I played defense. I was a defensive back.
Fast, fast, then fast. So
I
how
don't know
did
about fast, but I like to hit.
it? Well, I know safety. That's a position of speed, and you're right, hitting.
Yeah, but I mean, I was 42 years old. So how fast could I be in comparison to a 20-year-old or 25-year-old? But
Right,
I gave it my all. I never
and you
stopped
made
giving
the
it my all.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did it feel to become the first African American female to coach in NFL history?
I never thought about it like that.
Mhm.
That wasn't what I was thinking about. For me, it was I knew I was going to be the first woman to coach in New York Jets franchise. That's about the extent of what I knew.
Mhm.
But that wasn't even a thought as well. It was just like, yeah, I'm a coach, so I'm going to coach. I mean, I
Right.
was just happy. The outside world was telling me about me being the first black woman to coach in NFL history. The outside world was telling me you're the first woman to coach in New York Jets franchise history. That wasn't my psyche. My psyche was you have a job with the New York Jets as a coach. So go there, bring your shit, and let's get it done. That was
Yes.
my brain set, right? So I to me, who thinks about I'm going to be the first black? That wasn't what I was thinking. That was the least of my thoughts.
How did you make it from the gridiron playing football, defensive back, to becoming NFL coach for the New York Jets?
Well, I was also doing the marketing, the PR, the promotions, and the events for my women's pro football team.
Okay.
So when they had given me that title to take on that portion regarding the team, I took it very seriously. And I started making phone calls to the New York Jets because they were my favorite team. So I could have called the Giants, but I mean the Jets were number one as far as I was concerned.
Yes.
So I just started calling them. I just randomly started calling people from the New York Jets, and I got everybody's voicemail. And then I got frustrated. And I said, well, they're going to get a call from me every day or every week or whatever it might have been. You know, I'm
Hmm.
going to call you every other week. And then it was like, no one's calling me back. And I'm telling you about this women's football team. So I was calling them to get support for my women's pro football team.
Okay.
So it was never about me. It was never about me calling them to get a job. That wasn't even a thought in my brain, even at that time. My calls to them were for them to hopefully sponsor us, pick up some of the fees that we had to pay with no money.
Right.
And so it was all about my team. And what eventually ended up happening was I think I wore out a few people, and they were like, let's just call this lady Collette back so she can stop calling us.
Yes.
And somebody called me, and we ended up having a fantastic conversation. And he invited me to a private Jets football practice. And I remember telling him, I'm too busy to go to a practice. I don't got time for that. Like, what can y'all do for us? But when I started thinking about it more, I was thinking, well, let me go to their practice and see how they coach their team. I mean, it's the NFL, for Pete's sake.
Right.
So I was like, let me learn from their coaches so that I could be a greater coach for my team and bring that back to my team at practices.
Hmm.
And what ended up happening was me getting offered a position.
Wow, that's amazing. Did you feel pressure to prove yourself as a woman, as a Black woman coaching in the NFL, coaching for the Jets?
I mean, I'm a Black woman, so we have pressure every day.
This is
I
true.
was
This
not
is
new to
true.
that. That was not new to me. It was, having pressure in the office as the only Black woman in the boardroom, right? It was pressure just doing anything as a Black woman. There's pressure. So the only difference would be that we were not in a boardroom per se. We were on a
Mm.
football field.
Yes, yes.
So to me, it was the same difference, except there was a football involved.
Do you feel any responsibility being the first?
Absolutely.
Okay. What
Absolutely.
what is that thought? What does that feel like for you?
I mean, first off, it was just being prideful, you
Hmm.
know, showing my people, my culture, my community, my Blackness, my ancestors. Look at us now. Look at us, right? Thinking about, Rosa Parks, thinking about Shirley Chisholm, thinking about those women that broke barriers,
Yes,
that made
yes.
change, that changed the game. I was like, yeah, here we go. No one's stopping us. So for me, it was just about representation matters. And I was proud to be in that position. That was the position I was in. I wasn't going to shy away from it.
Hmm.
I was going to make the best of it for the next generation.
You often talk about grit and glitter, which I love, which is why I incorporated it into my intro. What do those words mean to you?
Uh, you know, I like being shiny. So shiny just means, a really good shower, a good shampoo and a conditioner, and you feel clean and alive, right? And then the grit is everyday life as a Black American. Grit. You have
Hmm.
to have grit to be a Black human being in this world, in this crazy, chaotic world that wants to erase us. And it was bad years ago, but it's looking like it's worse today, right?
Yeah.
I mean, John P. Lewis could tell you better when he was marching, across the Selma, the Edmund Pettus Bridge. That was grit then.
Right.
Today we have different grit, right?
Hmm.
So grit is something that I think that I know every Black person has inside of us because of what the world puts on us and takes away from us, or tries to take away from us. So I'm here in all my glory and all of what God created me to be and do. So nothing's going to stop me.
How did you build trust with the NFL players to listen to you and to believe you as you are coaching them?
That was never an issue.
Really?
Why would
I'm
it be an
surprised.
issue?
That's why I asked that question.
Yeah, I don't even understand why that would be a question, because if you get a job offer to be a school teacher
Hmm.
or a banker, whatever it may be, you're hired. You're the person. So it was no different for me on the field. I didn't have any issues with any of the players. In fact, the players embraced me. The players, you know, would look at me and they would say, wow, coach, I'm so happy to see you here. I got that from the players. I got the players telling me, this is mad cool, man. You're my coach. You know,
Yes.
I had other players telling me, I have daughters and I never once thought about playing football with them. And I'm like, why not? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, what you going to do now? What are you going to do now with your daughters? They're like, play football with them if they want to play. And I'm like, well, there we go. Now line the hell up.
Yes, yes. So you are able to, and as I'm hearing it, make a difference not only with females, but with the males too. You completely changed the way they thought and the way they looked at football with their daughters and other females in their life.
Yeah, that they otherwise didn't even think about in that aspect.
Now, Colette, I know that you're no longer coaching anymore, but what is one unforgettable moment, if you can narrow it down to one unforgettable moment you had coaching the New York Jets?
I mean, they all were unforgettable. There was no parade. There was nothing that was like, aha. It was just every day was an aha, right? Every day. Because ultimately, as a coach, your only job is to
Mhm.
see improvement, is to see growth. And so every day was amazing. Um, yeah, every day was amazing, you know. And I mean, I can remember one time in particular, there was a player, one of my DBs, that was a good player. He was a really good player, but he didn't come in with all the stardom, all the fandom, he didn't come in as a number one draft pick. And our number one draft pick was, to me, a little bit coddled. You know, he was a little coddled, and I didn't like that because it should be a level playing field for everybody. And I
Mhm.
remember some of the guys teasing this player, and I didn't like it, but nobody else said anything. When I say nobody else, the coaches in that room, in the defensive backs meeting room, were not checking it. And I'm sitting there like, why is nobody checking this? So I had to say something to the players, and they were like, all right, sorry, coach, it won't happen again. But you know, just to make a difference in somebody's life is what I think a true coach is. To awaken some thoughts that you might not have thought about previously. You
How
know,
long did you coach the New York Jets as the defensive backs coach?
I was only there during training camp.
Hmm.
I was only there during training camp, and then I started Believe in You Incorporated.
Yes.
So I left knowing that I had a bigger purpose in my life. This was just a step on the staircase for what I really wanted to do, which was to empower young Black girls and young Black boys all across the globe.
That leads directly into my next question. You founded Believe in You Incorporated. What's behind that mission exactly? I know you want to empower young Black girls and young Black boys. How are you doing that through Believe in You?
Through speaking presentations, through putting some of my life experiences on blast, and letting them see the hard days and the good days, letting them see the days I gave up, frustrated, and then letting them see me get back up and get back into the game, whatever the game may be. But
Hmm.
so, but believe in you. Believe in you came from my dad actually. When I got to go to a Jets practice, and I had a great time there. After practice, the head coach of the New York Jets had said to me, "You know, you should work for this organization." And I said, "I agree. I agree." You know, and that was something almost, it was unbelievable to me, and I couldn't wait to get back to my car so I can call my father and tell him about my day with the New York Jets, which was, by the way, his favorite team as well, which is why it was my favorite team.
Hmm.
And so I called my dad, and he knew exactly where I was. So when I called him, he said, "Oh my God, how was today? What the heck? What was it? Was it amazing?" And
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
"Yeah, it was great, Dad, but forget all that." He's like, "What?" I said, forget that, dude. I said, can you believe that the head coach of the New York Jets said you should work for this organization? Can you believe that? Can you believe it? Dad, can you believe that? And my father picked up on the fact that I couldn't believe it.
Mm.
And my father put me in check mode. And his response to me was, you know what, Colette? I can believe it. I can believe that you were asked to work for that organization. But I'd be more proud of you if you believed it.
Wow.
And I chewed on that the whole drive home from New Jersey back to New York because it was so impactful for me. It was like a blow to the gut that makes you think. And I thought, wow, what if I had more confidence? Like, why was I doubting myself? Why is that something? Why did I keep saying, can you believe that, as if I couldn't believe it?
Right.
And so I figured I wanted to do something with that statement to give that to other people, to people that look like us.
Yes.
So that's how Believe in You Incorporated started, was me wanting to share my dad's wisdom and confidence in me, for me, to other people that may be lacking in ways that I lacked in that moment.
How are you able, and I know you do speaking presentations, what other ways are you able to impart that confidence that your father had in you into other Black girls and Black boys in your mission, Believe in You?
I mean, through speaking presentations, through telling them all the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's exactly what I do. So it is speaking presentations. I don't want to diminish that. It is what
Right.
it is. So when I'm sitting up there telling a classroom full of kids what's going on, they're listening. they're leaned in, right? So that is what I do primarily. So for me, I'm all over the world, from Germany to New York to Compton, California, to Detroit, to Baltimore, Maryland,
Mhm.
Cleveland, Ohio, Akron, Ohio, Kansas City, visiting schools in Black neighborhoods to pour into our children, to let them know that they are worthy, to let them know that we need them, to let them know that you are valued, but we want you to value yourself as well.
And it's possible that that's the first time they probably hear that. When you come in and say that and speak that into their spirit, it's possible that's the first
Yeah.
time that someone has said those words to them.
Oh yeah. It's quite interesting because I know I'm really dialed in when I walk into a school. And when I walk into school, you'll hear the kids going, "Who's that?" And then somebody will say, "That's that lady coach from the NFL." And they're like, "Oh, snap, what?" And they're like, "Why is she here?" You know, because they're not used to anybody coming in there for them. And I want to change that. So when I listen to the stuff they say and I incorporate that into my speech on the fly. I heard some of you guys talking about, why am I here? I'm here because I love you. And they're like, you love us? And I'm like, I do love you. And so it's really a beautiful thing.
When those young people hear your stories in Akron, Ohio, and Cleveland, Ohio, and Germany, what is the takeaway you want them to have?
Uh, for them to know that the destiny in them is greater than any storm around them.
So, my final question before we wrap up, Collette, if you could speak directly to your younger self, the girl that loved football before anyone probably thought or believed that you could be an NFL coach, what would you want to say to her?
I don't know why that question always chokes me up. I just want to let her know that I'm proud of her, and that she's loved, that she is worthy of everything good, and to keep the fire, and to keep the excitement about life. Because somewhere along the line, I lost it. I lost it. I lost the fire to live at some point in my life, and I just want to tell her I'm sorry I did her wrong sometimes. I didn't believe in her. So I would tell her to always believe in you, and it's right to do that.
Right. Thank you so much, Collette V.
Of course.
Smith, for being on this podcast, being vulnerable with us, but also sharing your life lessons, trials, and triumphs. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And to my community, thank you so much for tuning in. You can get Colette's podcast and all of my other podcasts on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. Oh, look at your book. Before we say goodbye, Colette's Courage. Tell me
Yep.
about that, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, yeah. So Colette's Courage is my debut children's book,
Okay.
and I named it Colette's Courage on purpose. And it's the subtitle is a story about being brave, being kind, and being you. And it is just for all of our kids to use the power in their voice and speak up for things that they want. Like I spoke up when I was a little girl to ask the boys, can I play football? Which was very scary to do, by
It
the way.
is scary. You're right.
But once I did it, it was so gratifying. And I want that for our children right now.
And it gets easier. The more you speak up,
Oh,
it
yeah.
gets easier.
Yeah.
So, Collette V. Smith, where can we get your book, Colette's Courage?
Oh, you can get Colette's Courage on Amazon. Just type in Colette's Courage in the search box or type in Collette V. Smith. And it's also available on Barnes and Noble as well on their website.
Excellent. So everyone go out and get, and this is my first time. I've never done this before, but I'm going to encourage my community to go out and get your book, Colette's Courage,
Yes.
for the girls and the boys in your life. We
Yeah.
all need to learn because courage is not innate. It's something that is taught, it's something that is learned. And this book will definitely help the kids in your life learn to have courage and speak up, just
That's
like
right.
Miss Collette V. Smith. So thank you, thank you,
Of
thank
course. Thank
you.
you.
To my audience, again, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. You can get Colette's podcast along with all my other podcasts on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And remember, you always have time to listen and learn on the go.